Selection number 2.
This game turns the tables on everything traditional about the franchise. Instead of assuming the role of the typical protagonist, players were thrust into the shoes of what would normally be the object of the hero's quest. Most folks deny the title's existence, but what game is it?
Selection number 3.
This particular piece of software was published through the normal channels, but was actually co-developed with external assistance. It came in 2 flavors that utilized either a link cable or password system and were originally planned to be a 3-part simultaneous release before the third was eventually canceled.
Selection number 4.
This title was definitely a new, full-sized adventure, but there's no doubting that it was more of an expansion pack? 4 megs to be exact. It is hailed by many as containing a more intelligent adult narrative, in part by offering a twisted view on the game that came before it. Any guesses?
Selection number 5.
This game offers up a gameplay mechanic that can shrink normal humans down to a size in which they may interact with a thumb-sized race of people. It was additionally packaged with a specially themed version of the hardware that it resided on, plus a long-sleeve shirt and cap. What game is it?
Selection number 6.
This particular piece of software is essentially a virtual retelling of one of the entries that came before it. It contained the Achilles heel of a buffer overflow and was only recently repackaged into a bestseller line on its platform. Can you guess the answer? That's 6 PiXelTraX, so I ask, what do they all have in common? What ties them together? While you mull that over, I have yet another topic to get off of my chest. Alright, I've been asked the same question by a number of folks as of late. I bet you're mad about paying $250 for your 3DS, aren't you? Well, in case you haven't heard, Nintendo announced recently that it would be dropping the retail price tag of the slow-moving hardware by $80 to a new cost of $169.99, making it very competitive with the remainder of the DS line. But is it the right move, or flailing of arms in deep water? Nintendo seems to be off their game as of late, seeming to lack any type of focus or direction. Their E3 announcement of the Wii U, which I think we still know almost nothing about, seemed to put themselves in the position of trying to pander to multiple audiences with the same hardware. Need I remind you that that exact approach didn't exactly work with the Wii? Oh, and remember that one time when they aimed to push out the launch of the 3DS before the end of their fiscal year, even with the stigma of no must-have retail software to go with it? Pilot Wings! No? No? Anyone? Ocarina of Time 3D has done wonders for the system in the meantime, and is wonderful as an aside, but much more attention needs to be paid, and I guess this price cut qualifies. I mean, it's kind of odd when you place Western corporate culture next to its Eastern counterpart. Nintendo's high-ranking officers have taken massive pay cuts beginning at the top and becoming tiered as it goes downward. Iwata has taken a massive 50% chop, and the bottom of the scale, they're clocking in around 30%. That would never happen here in America. But this alone just isn't enough to propel the 3DS into the company of hardware that they would like it to be in. Luckily, they've caught a break. Sony recently announced that the Vita would be missing holiday 2011 in Europe and the US. Huge mistake. I can't even express how much of a misstep this is for Sony. Nintendo will have the luxury this year of possibly being the trendy electronic gadget of choice for Christmas gifts. I could be wrong, but Sony's faltering could be the largest contributor to Nintendo's handheld success. I still think about how much the glasses-free 3D impressed me at E3. I knew at that moment that it was a definite purchase for me. I'm almost always an early adopter, and yes, sometimes I take it on the chin as a result. So, do I feel slighted having paid full price for my new handheld? Not really. I knew what I was getting into when I opted to do so, but Nintendo offering an ambassador program helps a lot. For those that don't know, said initiative will give those 3DS owners who access the eShop before midnight August 11th 10 NES and 10 Game Boy Advance Virtual Console games free of charge. In all honesty, that's going to turn my portable into an on-the-go entertainment system. Plus, even at $5 a piece, and you know eventually they're going to sell them for more than that, you get much more than the $80 in price adjustment. I'm not sure if that will be the great equalizer for everyone, but I do know one thing. I'll be accessing the eShop once a day until August 12th just to ensure my enrollment. That will about do it for this episode of PiXelTraX. Remember to submit your answers promptly to the pixeltraxshow@gmail.com. Don't fret if you miss a show. Someone above you on the leaderboards could possibly do the same, and not only that, but a correct guess as to the theme of each set list would go a good way to helping you catch up. Check the rankings at thegamesmen.com, and please share the show with a few of your friends. Don't forget to join us next week for a fresh episode of The Gamesmen, and let us know what you're playing on Twitter by using hashtag TheGamesmenCheck. If you have comments, feel free to leave them about this or any other show on the site. Until next time, good luck, and take care.
If not fully satisfied with this podcast, please return any portion short of full refund.
So you can run and tell that, homeboy.